Okay, good evening. Thank you. Thank you for your patience and thank you for coming this evening. Although I've been here for now over a year, it's for me the first time that I've met many of you in person. So I will introduce myself again. I've done that remotely lots of times. My name is Tim Johnson. I'm the head teacher at Norton College, and it is a real privilege to have you here this evening. So the sixth form here at Norton College, I genuinely think is the most fabulous place to study, and students today, those in year 11 at the school, have had an opportunity to taste what it's like, to get a sense of what sixth form life might be like, and I think the sixth formers themselves are probably the best advert for the place. And I'll just start with a short video which is actually one of our student presidents speaking, among others, about sixth form life at the school.
There's a lot of lessons, so you get a lot of time to choose and experience different subjects before you reach the time in year 10. So you get lots of help with your GCSEs, and then that made me want to stay on the sixth form.
The strong point really is most students would say they have quite a good relationship with the teachers, and I think that's one reason why I came to Norton sixth form as well, is because we know all the teachers and quite friendly with them, and all the lessons are relatively interesting.
There's a lot of things for creative arts and that. So you can do concerts or productions or whatever suits your taste.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra curricular stuff which is really good, and even when GCSEs were quite stressful, every teachers were always really helpful, and it's quite a relaxed but good environment to work in, really.
I've been here since year 7. As the years go on, you do make loads of friends and you do really enjoy your time here. I have really enjoyed it, and now looking back, being in my last year, I don't know where the time went.
So I joined in year 12 and I came from a much bigger school, about 200 miles move. But since settling in here, it's been a lot easier than any other school I've transitioned to, because it's a lovely, family-friendly and quite communal, and you get to know everyone here.
Make sure you take part in the school shows. They are an amazing opportunity to get to know people from every year group.
You may not physically want to be in centre of the spotlight. You can work backstage with quite a few other students.
So there is sport activities during lunchtimes and after schools, which are really good for if you want to learn how to do different sports or just be part of a team.
I think they did quite well at gradually transitioning you in, so you felt more comfortable before you actually took on the work.
It gives you an idea of what we stand for, and the sixth form is a part of the school. And I'm a real believer. I've worked in 5 schools and all of them have had a sixth form. And I think the opportunities that we have here for sixth formers to work as part of that school, to work as role models, are easily overlooked. And I'll talk a little bit more about those things in a moment. I've shared with you before the vision for the school, and I really do believe that that's got to stand at the heart of all that we do. It's not just a thing on the wall, it's what we stand for as a school. And that runs all the way through to the sixth form itself. And as I say, those sixth formers are the ambassadors for us, and they really do characterise and role model the things that you see here. If you go below the kind of maroon strip there, that developing a love of learning, that really is something that I see thriving post-16 in particular. And that really does lie at the heart of all that we do here. But as you move down, the breadth of subjects and study opportunities obviously is the second one there. Making people the best that they can be is more than simply academic achievement. It's about the kind of wider personal development, and there are so many opportunities that students have at Norton College. Those Aspiration Values, you see them around the school site. You will have heard various staff talk about those over time. They're values that were done for me before I joined the school, and they do really underpin what we do. But in terms of choices, we're now at a stage where your children, or you, if you are in year 11, or you if you're in year 10, you're starting to think about what is right for you, and it's got to be what's right for you. And I think it's very easy to get wowed by the range of different providers and to overlook what is on your doorstep. So if we think about this family feel, and you've just heard some students talk about that, it was one of the things that attracted me to Norton College. When I moved here, everybody talked about the family feel, and that can just be a phrase, but it was said too often to be something that was kind of meaningless. And it is at the heart of what goes on. People genuinely care. People genuinely know you. You are a person, you're not a number here. And that really does lie at the heart of what we're looking to do and why we succeed. If you look at the various facilities here, well, the best building in the school is the sixth form building. It's got its own dedicated canteen. It's got a fitness suite which is stocked with machines which compete really with the David Lloyd gym that I go to. It's an area, it's a space that allows students to socialise with one another, indoors and outdoors. It is a discrete area. It is a place that children can go to that they know is their own. We have a dedicated sixth form team. And that sixth form team has expanded, and Mrs. MacDonald, our head of sixth form, will talk a little more about that shortly. But that, again, is really crucial in the success that lies at the heart of what we do. We have a dedicated mentor team. And so you'll be familiar with the mentor program. The form tutors in our school, in the lower school, work with students in lots of different ways. Post-16, there are real specialisms around that. UCAS applications, job applications, apprenticeship applications. And we have a mentor team who are really experienced in that process. In terms of opportunities and the things that students could experience, leadership, as we know, is something that really makes someone stand out. It isn't just your academic qualifications. It's not just the extracurricular that you've done. It's leadership as well. And students have a genuine range of those opportunities here. Those student leadership groups, which are coordinated by Mrs. Waynes, are headed by sixth formers. And these have been subcategorised so that we're working around key areas within the college. And it's an opportunity for students post-16 to take a real lead in an area that interests them. We have our student presidents. You'll hear from them shortly. They're far better advocates than I could ever be for the sixth form here. The president role and the vice president roles, those are really important in the kind of key leadership of the sixth form. We then have subject ambassadors. And so when you go post-16, obviously you study fewer subjects. And one of the opportunities you have there is to represent that subject across the school. Again, it's something that really stands out when you leave the sixth form. It's a development characteristic that we can offer here that many other institutions simply can't. Dance leaders is a new initiative that we're running for the first time this year within our Enrichment Program. And similarly, the Sports Leader Program, which has been running for a little longer than that. These are accredited qualifications that students can take advantage of in the sixth form. We then have, and this goes back to the point that I'm making about being part of a school, we have the capacity to be a role model and to work with younger students. You see there a group of our sixth formers who are working as kind of paired readers with some of the younger students who might struggle a little with their reading. And those kind of things don't just contribute and give back to the school as a whole, they really stand out in terms of your wider development as a person. You don't get those opportunities in other institutions which maybe don't have lower school. But it isn't just those things. It isn't just the kind of the nice things around the wider development. At the core of what you do is your study program. At the core of what you take away, that's the passport to your future success. So sometimes a family feel could be a bit of a euphemism for complacency, and it isn't that here. So if we look at achievement, there are two figures on there. We get lots of numbers in education. It's quite difficult to comprehend what they mean sometimes. But essentially, if we look at the 2021 results, so last year they were assessed differently, as you'll be aware. However, they are still the results that students took away, and they're the result of a robust series of assessments and exams that we conducted across the school. And what those figures mean is that students here last year achieved, on average, in each of their different A-level subjects, about 2/3 of a grade better than students with similar starting points nationally. And in the applied general qualifications, that's the vocational level 3 qualifications, about 2/5 of a grade better in each of those qualifications than similar students nationally. And that's outstanding in terms of the success rate there. And they will take that away, and it will be the passport for you as you go on to future study or employment. If I go back to what do we stand for as a school, These you will see around the school as you move around it. They've gone up over the course of the past year or so, and they epitomise really the wider development of individuals. And I really think that sixth formers are the role models for these things and what we say about ourselves. If you look at those and what they stand for, well, this is what our teachers work towards. We have teachers who are specialists, teachers who are subject experts. They work with your child. They work with you if you're in year 12. If you're in year 13, they work alongside you. You have very small class sizes, and you get something that you simply don't get in other organisations. And that top left one there, about success being the sum of small parts, really is what it's about. You don't get gifted with success. We know that. I think a lot of the time we hear people saying, well, so-and-so is just very lucky, they're very talented at things. You know as well as I do that's not really the case. As a student here, you know how hard you have to work day by day to accumulate that success. As an adult, you'll have experienced it as well. And our subject teachers will work alongside you in bringing you towards that success, because it comes incrementally. If you look at the top right, tolerance, that really is what we stand for as a school, as a body, as an organisation. Tolerance, embracing diversity, those are things that we need to recognise across not just the local community, but in wider life beyond simply Norton and Moulton. The bottom right is what probably I get asked about the most commonly by students. What does that mean? And of course what that means is about being kind. And I've just talked about giving back, I've talked about working with younger students, and kindness really does lie at the heart of a successful school, community, nation, whatever you might describe it as. That really is at the heart of all that we look to do. But I come back to two of those slides again. There are only 6 that we've put up around the school, we've put in lots of different places. What do these mean? Well, actually, the top one there is about aspiration. We talk about Aspire Values. Our sixth form stands for those Aspire Values. You aim to be the very best that you can be. If you fall slightly short, then you fall slightly short, but you've done the best that you can. And my mum and my nan, they've always said these things to me, and I kind of glibly looked over them when I was younger, when they said, all you can do is do your best. Well, it's our job to help you to do your best here, and that is very much what we do at Norton College in the sixth form in particular. So that's the top one there, and the bottom one is why I came into this job, because actually through education you can genuinely change the world, and there is a real opportunity for you here, not one to be overlooked. It's very easy, and you should look elsewhere, very easy to overlook what's on your doorstep, but this is a fabulous post-16 organisation, and I'm going to hand over at that point to Mrs. MacDonald, who will take you through a little more of the detail. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. So I'm going to introduce you to our sixth form team. Oh, thank you. A bit smaller than Mr. Johnson. So I'm going to introduce you to our sixth form team. They are here this evening. We have Mrs. Atkinson-Spragg, who is our pastoral and enrichment leader within sixth form. And like Mr. Johnson said, in main school, we have pastoral leaders, and that goes right through to sixth form. And Mrs. Atkinson-Spragg is our dedicated pastoral and enrichment leader in sixth form. We have Mr. Finlater, who is our academic enrichment leader, who will introduce himself in a short while, and he'll talk you through his role within sixth form. And then we have Mrs. Medley, who is our careers leader in school, and she is a careers leader right from year 7 through to 19, and she supports sixth formers with apprenticeships, CV writing, UCAS applications alongside our mentor team. So this is our dedicated mentor team, and they are all trained to support students with personal statements when it comes to writing those for university, and they support students and guide them through that application process. Plus, when it gets to the point later on in the year for year 13, they will look at apprenticeships and helping those students to write the CV and supporting them on a one-to-one basis. So our mentor program works slightly different to main school. And what happens is we have a Monday and Tuesday where they all get together in an assembly or in a mentor time where they might be doing activities set by Mr. Finlater in terms of private study and study skills development. And then on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they have one-to-one meetings with their mentor, and that might be to discuss progress, it might be to discuss careers aspirations and university applications, or it might be to discuss attendance or anything else around sixth form that might be a concern or just a discussion that they need to have. So the mentor team are really specialist and they really support our students on a daily basis. They're the first point of contact on a morning for our students. So like Mr. Johnson said, we are really proud of our academic success in sixth form. And Mr. Johnson mentioned the numbers and the value added and the numbers in there. I wanted to put it into context of grades. So the average grade for our A-level students is a B, which is absolutely fantastic for a sixth form average grade, and that is for A-level. And then for our vocational courses, the average grade that our students leave us with is a distinction, which is incredibly high, and we are really proud of all of our students' success. But what are the programs of study that we have? You do have your prospectus that you've been given on the way in, and it does outline this in there, but I'll just briefly go through some of the programs of study. So students can do an A-level program where you would just choose A-level subjects. And in enrichment time, they might choose the extended project qualification, which Mr. Finlater is going to talk about in a short while. The second option would be to do just vocational options. So the vocational subjects, and they choose just vocational options. What's really unique about Norton College is that actually you can combine your A-levels and vocational programs. And that's really important for those students that are wanting a sort of mix of subjects when they come to sixth form. So as you can see there, you can do one A-level subject and then possibly two vocational alongside. I've been having conversations today during the options day with Year 11. Some students are really interested in doing health and social care and psychology alongside it because of what they want to do in the future. Or you could do sport and biology alongside one another. English literature, performing arts. And you can mix your programs and mix your A-level and vocational programs, which is really unique compared to other institutions. When it comes to the enrichment program, we're really proud of our enrichment program, and it's developed a lot over the course of the last 5 years. And we've now got it to a point where that our students are really gaining extra skills, extra qualifications during that time. And it's split up into what we call a core program, which is compulsory for students to attend, and that might be things about personal health and development, might be well-being, it might be regarding finance management, and lots of other things. We did Restart a Heart Day the other day, last week, which was really, really good for the students. So we do core sessions where they are all engaged and they're all doing the same thing. Then we have the optional enrichment. And this is split into 3 sections. You've got your supercurricular, extracurricular, and volunteering. So the supercurricular is where you get academic qualifications during that time. And we do things like the extended project qualification, sports leaders and dance leaders, for instance, where you get a level 2 qualification in that. British Sign Language, which I think Penny, one of our student presidents, is going to talk about in a short while. And you can get additional qualifications. And what we've found, like the students around us here, they've all been applying for university, and we're just going through that process. And it is a highlight of my day, sitting with the students when they're sending off their applications. It's such a delight to sit with them. And they are absolutely delighted, and they've been running into my office going, I've got an offer, or I've got an interview. And it's such a nice environment to be in with those Year 13 students as they're starting to send off their application forms. But what they've been able to do because of the enrichment program is write so much about what they've done in their own time. They've been able to write about their academic and what they've learnt in lessons, but they've also talked about everything that they've done during enrichment time, whether they've got an additional qualification, the extracurricular activities that they might do that enhances their wider development. And then, like it's been mentioned by Mr. Johnson, we encourage our students to give back. We encourage our students to volunteer, whether that be with the paired reader program. Some of our A-level maths students are working alongside some Year 11 students just to support them with some maths in preparation for their GCSE exams. A lot of our students during a Wednesday afternoon go into main school lessons, whether it be history, maths, geography, and they go and support younger students in those lessons. And they get a lot from that, and they really enjoy it. They've also been delivering lessons. So some of our students in history and in media so far, food, science, and business, they have delivered sessions to the younger students. And seeing the sixth formers, when after they've done that, is a sense of achievement. They are so pleased with themselves when they've delivered those sessions. And we're able to then write that in their reference for their university applications and for their apprenticeship applications if that's what they choose to do. So we've talked a lot about being known as an individual, but I just want to draw your attention just to the last few things on here for enrichment. We also do the Duke of Edinburgh programme, and we have lots of music opportunities as well. And in the video, you also saw about the school production as well. We also have a journalism team, which is led by the students, and they're developing that. They've now got a really large journalism team, so we're hoping like they provide lots of information for us for our website and to give to the Year 11s about what sixth formers are up to and what the whole school are doing as well. So lots to get involved in with enrichment. So in terms of being known as an individual, that's what it's about at sixth form. We know our students really well. We know how to support them. The teachers know how to support them within lessons. Within careers advice, we're able to give one-to-one careers advice for our students and support them in their decision-making when it comes to their university applications or apprenticeships. We listen to our students. So it's funny because when they did student voice about the dress code, they all said they wanted a more relaxed dress code, and that we listened to their thoughts, we listened to why, they justified it really well, and then we presented that to the senior leadership team, and the dress code changed, and that was all based on student voice. And they're all allowed to wear a relaxed dress code, but this evening they've all come quite smart, which is very nice of them to come really smart, and they've made an effort, so thank you very much for that. But you do have a more relaxed dress code in sixth form now, which I know the students really appreciate, but that's come through student voice, and we do listen to students about concerns or changes that they think should maybe be made in sixth form. They also have privileges, and they've been spoken about a little bit in terms of the building and their diner, their own area, but they also have home study. So they do get to go off-site and study during their independent study time, and they get to go off-site at break and lunchtime. They also have their dress code, and they have their own learning centre, the fitness suite access, and so on. So there are lots of privileges. It's very different to main school. And the Year 11s that are from Norton College that experienced Option Day today will have seen that the lessons are really different as well. They're really challenging. GCSE compared to A-level is very different. And you will have seen that hopefully today. There's also a sixth form transport, so we do have a sixth form minibus for students. And in terms of that 11 to 19 school benefits, we've talked about that in terms of supporting the younger students. The amount of achievement that they get from supporting those younger students is really important for them. In terms of where our students go on to, so some of our students go on to higher education, I've already mentioned that, in terms of applying for university. And you can see up here that some of our students have gone on to do medical science, theoretical physics, business, English literature, a real range of subjects. And some of those are Russell Group universities, some of the top universities in the country, and we're incredibly proud of all of our students that go on to university. And there's some more students there that have gone on to higher education. We also have students that go on to apprenticeships and directly into employment. And again, we are so proud of these students because they have chosen the things that they really want to do, and they've gone for that because it's all about the individual. It's all about what the student wants and where they want to go. And we open as many doors for them as we possibly can and encourage them to apply to university and encourage them to apply for apprenticeships and employment and traineeships. And then they've got all of those options ready for them, so then they can make an informed decision when they get their results in August. So they have got so many options available to them. And you can see some more apprenticeships and traineeships up on the board now. We're incredibly proud of our students. I'm now going to introduce Sam Spencer and Hannah Mainprize, if you'd like to come down, who are our student presidents, and they're going to talk to you a little bit about their life at sixth form.
So I'm Sam, as Miss said, and I'm studying production arts, performing arts and media.
And I'm Hannah, and I'm studying maths, physics, chemistry and further maths.
So it's already been talked about, but I think it's important that we talk about it as well, and that's that family feel here at Norton, and that is quite a genuine feeling from all the students. Everybody knows their teachers really well, they can go to them if they need to, and you're known as an individual.
Yeah, definitely. I think it might sound a little bit cliche and everyone sort of says it, but it definitely is true. And I think because you get that more one-to-one time with your teachers and they know you better, I think it definitely is true. And I think it's enhanced by the extracurricular opportunities. So I've taken part in Duke of Edinburgh, which meant I got to interact with the teachers in a different way and meet new people from different years. I think that's really good and it looks really good on your CV. And yeah, it gave me a lot of different skills. And then there's the student leadership team, which you can get involved with. And obviously, in sixth form, we take ownership of it and run it. And there's also the subject leaders, like Miss McDonald mentioned, which I help in year 7 maths and science. And I think it's really helped me because it enhances what I know, because I have to think about it in a different way in order to help other people understand it. And I think that's been really helpful for me.
So in terms of the facilities, obviously some of them have already been mentioned, but just coming from my point of view, which is sort of performance, we've got the sixth form drama studio, which is great if you're doing performing arts, but there's also the gantry and the lighting and sound and all the things that you can do if you're doing something like production arts. And then there's also the gyms, the fitness suite, the field, all the facilities that the main school has, but obviously all the ones in sixth form as well, which you'll get to see tonight, like the American style diner in the learning centre, which is a really useful space, with computers and things to be able to get on with your work and have a safe and quiet place to study.
Yeah, I think one of the main differences between main school and sixth form is the independence that you get. So you get the study periods where you get to direct your own learning and decide how you want to study and how you want to revise. And also the fact that you're allowed out at break and lunches, I think it definitely gives you a lot more independence, which bridges the gap between if you go on to university or an apprenticeship, because you don't get direct teaching and the support that you do at school. And I think it definitely helps with the independence. It bridges that gap.
Yeah, like Hannah said, it's that bridge to whatever your next steps are. You feel that independence compared to main school, but you're still supported the way that you should be. And thinking about that sort of support when it comes to applications, which has been mentioned by Miss McDonald, in year 13 we're doing that now. We're applying, we're doing UCAS and things. Even if you're not going to university, maybe you're looking at an apprenticeship, traineeship, going straight into a job, you still get that support that I think you need. And if you need any help, you can go to your teachers, you can go to your mentors, you have one-on-one meetings with your mentors and develop your personal statement, everything that you need to help support you apply to these further opportunities. And I think that's really important. But yeah, overall, there really is that family feel here. That's genuine. I think Norton's becoming known for that now, and it should be, because that's what it's like.
Yeah, definitely. I'd definitely recommend Norton sixth form if you want that slight extra support and that more one-on-one rather than being taught in a big class. I think it definitely helps being taught more in a small class. You get that more one-on-one time with your teachers.
Thank you.
So I'm now going to introduce Robert and Penny, who are also student presidents, vice presidents from year 12. Do you want to come forward? And we're just going to do a little Q&A with Robert and Penny for this evening.
I'm studying maths, biology and chemistry.
Was it an easy decision?
No, not at all. I love so many subjects and it was really difficult to decide, but I had so much help from all the careers leaders and my mentor, and yeah, they just helped me get through it. And in the end, I just picked the ones that I love the most, which I think is really important, to love what you're studying and then you can do whatever you want.
So what other support did you receive when choosing your options?
So we've had a transition day, just like the year 11s have had today. And that was really good because you get an insight into what it's actually like to be in a lesson. You get to learn about what you're actually going to do in the lesson and in the subject. And you get to meet all your teachers, which is really important to have a great relationship with your teachers to learn. And all the teachers are always on the end of an email, and they're just so supportive with anything you need.
So obviously the main difference is the class sizes. They are a lot smaller, but because of that you get more independent time with your teacher. It's a lot nicer, a lot more, I wouldn't say relaxed, but you do feel very comfortable in that. As well as that, there's obviously all the facilities that are quite different as well. It's a nice place to be, which is good.
How are you treated differently?
You get treated like an adult, which I think is quite good because it does set you up for the real world. You get to know your teachers a lot more because of those smaller class sizes. You get more time with them a week as well. You're able to approach them about anything. So yeah, you get treated differently in a lot of ways, but I think they're one of the most important ways.
And I've mentioned some of the privileges, but what privileges do you have?
So you get obviously the off-site. You can go off-site at break and lunch. You've got home study, which you can go off-site to study. You've got independent study, which is great. We've got a great place to do your independent study. You've got the computers, and it's a very quiet place to work as well. It's a great place to crack on. As well as that, the dress code is very good because it allows you to be comfortable but also presentable, and that's quite important because again it sets you up for the real world.
So Penny, what enrichment activities?
So I've just finished my British Sign Language course, and that's something I really enjoyed learning. It was a nice break from all my academic study, and it just felt like a really great thing to be doing. And it was really good. I could, me and my friends had like competitions to see who could learn the most and remember it, and yeah, it's just really useful. And I'm going to start Duke of Edinburgh soon, which is also really exciting.
And how does the Enrichment Program support you outside?
It gives you opportunities to engage in things that you wouldn't normally engage in, like volunteering in the community or helping in main school. And it gives you more confidence for when you're going to go into the real world and have to speak to lots of different people. It's really exciting to be able to choose what you want to do and really have ownership over the things you're doing. And it's so important to be like passionate about it. And when you're doing things you're passionate about, it's just really exciting to see what you can do next.
How do your teachers support you inside and outside?
Inside of lessons, if there's something you're struggling with or something you're not quite understanding, it's very easy to approach your teacher and get around it because like those smaller class sizes which we've all mentioned, you're able to get that one-to-one support a lot more. Outside of lessons, we are encouraged, if we are having trouble with anything we're learning, to just send a quick email, and we get an email back quite quickly, which is good.
And why would you recommend Norton College?
So I would recommend Norton College Sixth Form. First of all, it's a really nice place to be. You've got all the amazing facilities which Sam and Hannah have spoken about, Mr. Johnson and Mrs. McDonald have spoken about, and that I've spoken about. You also get your independence. You feel a lot like an adult. It's a great place to transition from being in secondary school to the real world. As well as that, there's all the successes which have been spoken about, the results, everything is just so amazing. So, yeah.
So just for the final part of our presentation this evening, I'm just going to hand over to Mr. Finlater, who's going to explain his role within Sixth Form.
So good evening, everyone. I've got to say it's nice to see you all actually in person again after so long, everything being on Teams and not being able to see you actually here today as normal. Also looking around the room, I've got to say it's very strange to see so many of our students will be year 12s next year. I can't believe how fast the time has flown. As Mr. Donald has said, I am the Sixth Form Academic Enrichment Leader. It's quite a long title, but it's one that's absolutely essential for our Sixth Form community and the general school as well. My role varies quite a lot depending on the focus at that time. That could be the time of year, that could be the student, that could even be the individual demand at that time. And this can vary from Richmond afternoons, that can be to do with mental time, the activities I create, that can be to do with university applications, and whatever the individual requirement of that student is. Now, one thing I'm absolutely passionate about is providing our students with the necessary tools to succeed at Sixth Form and in life afterwards. One of those tools is organisation. And as Hannah has mentioned, independence at Sixth Form is, for many students, quite daunting. Students have gone from having every moment of the day in GCSE planned for them, and suddenly you have all this independence, you have private study, you've got to plan your time, you've got to plan your days, and it can be quite daunting. As part of the mentor program that I helped create, every single half term we have these study plans, and what they are is each half term it starts with a few questions to make sure you plan your half term in the right way, what your focus is, and then we have actual timetables. Now it looks huge. I'm not expecting them to fill every single box in it. The idea is you then, with your class teachers, with your parents or guardians, with your friends, you work out what needs to be done at that time. That could be factoring in when you're going to be doing UCAS applications, when you've got university interviews, when you've got enrichment activities, when you've got even your own job. The idea is the more organised you are, the easier you are to make progress and move forward at sixth form. At the end of the half term then, we do promote the idea of higher expectations and the idea that you evaluate where you've got to and where you want to go next time. So the idea is you've achieved something, but how are we going to push ourselves further? And as my role suggests, academic enrichment leader, we want our students to really make that progress and move forward. Now, one of the elements that I do work on is the EPQ. I work alongside Mrs. McDonald and Ms. Atkinson-Spragg as part of the enrichment afternoon. Now, I've got to say I'm very, very impressed with the offering we have. This is my first year in this role. I did work on it beforehand. I provided some of the other lessons. I taught Mandarin and journalism and some other skills. But the EPQ is a program that I think is incredibly important and so useful. The EPQ is an extended research project. Now, as part of this, you are able to pretty much research anything. The end goal can be a written essay, it can be an artifact as in a presentation, a video, and it's a really good way of bridging that gap between secondary school and university. It provides you with skills of time management, it teaches you how to organize yourself, and as part of the afternoon, I actually teach them the skills of research. Is it ethical? How do you create a title? How do you do a bibliography? All those skills that our students going to university will be expected to know, but in many ways they won't know yet. And it's a really, really good way to bridge that gap between school and the adult world. Now, apart from obviously the ability to actually get an extra qualification and research something you find interesting, there are so many skills that are absolutely amazing. It gives our students the opportunity potentially to branch out and do something that they've never thought they could do. They can learn new skills, they can become more confident, they can research and they can contact organizations. It's a real taste of adult world and what's expected of them after they leave sixth form. Now, it is not just Norton College, it is very well thought of across the whole country. Universities are incredibly pleased to see the EPQ on people's students' applications. As you can see from the background, Cambridge, Bristol. If you're looking to go to Oxford, Cambridge, Russell Group, want to do medicine, dentistry, I will work with the students, and these qualifications such as the EPQ, as part of the super curricula, as Ms. McDonald has suggested, are absolutely essential. We want our students to achieve the best they can do, and through my role in terms of the EPQ, in terms of the enrichment, also working with students in Key Stage 4, years 10 and 11, to create a growth mindset, the right way of thinking to reach your potential is absolutely essential.